MLSAces Podcast, episode 183. We are back and we got a full crew tonight. Vaughn, last week it was just you and me. Now we got the two boys down below, Jason and Sam. Sam, I'll go to you first. How are you, bud? How have you been?
Doing good.
How's life?
Life is good. Life is good. I am glad to be back, ready to be here, bringing the excitement. I know Jason's got the excitement with me tonight.
Always. Jason's always bringing it.
Jason, the excitement VVAG. That's what we call him. Behind the scenes, that's what we call him.
Exactly. Every single episode. Jason.
Let's go.
The Timbers, Jason, the excitement VVang. How are you?
I'm doing great, bring in the excitement. Really, really excited that we've got some games being played. And also, in our little playing song, when the cymbal starts hitting consistently, that's where I start vibing. It's like 22 seconds in or so, and you're just like, ooh.
If anyone's listening to the podcast and they have no idea what the fuck we're talking about,
then watch us live.
Check out YouTube, check out Switch, or afterwards, Jason. Afterwards, you can do that too.
YouTube, YouTube is a thing that's pretty.
There you go. There you go.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Vaughn, you were here last week. You're here this week as well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm ready. This is exciting. The season is like in full force. CCL, we got week 2.
Did we mention we're excited? Because I'm fucking excited.
I'm pumped.
So excited.
All right. It's time with the excitement. All three of you. I was going to say all 4 of you. All 4 of you, stop it. Let's talk CCL. I guess it's fresh. It's the most recent games that happened. Maybe not the best results after the first round, after everyone was getting hyped up. I was getting hyped up.
Depends on who you're rooting for.
Yeah, I guess so. Let's start with the all MLS matchup, Atlanta versus Philly in Atlanta. Philly comes away with a 3-0 win. Big brace from Kasper Shabilko. He had a fantastic game. He was looking good. I guess really any takeaways from that game, Jason? I know this may be a point you want to touch on later on, but definitely some set pieces really not being defended. And I think that was also something in this game that not that all the goals came from set pieces, but definitely some poor set piece defending.
No, but just as a whole, I mean, we'll get into it later, but as a whole, MLS is just like, what are you doing on defense? Like, where is our quality set piece defense? It's just non-existent. People are just like, oh, the ball is not moving. I should prepare for this. And then they just don't.
And I guess the larger question that I want to ask the group is, are we okay with Dupe Nation being in the CCL semifinals come, I think August is when the next rounds are. I mean, not that it's confirmed yet, right? There has to be a second leg.
I mean, This was a win-win either way, right? MLS team was going to move on.
Yeah, but I know some people are Philly. So I personally, I have a secret love for Philly. Philly just does things right. And I know many people don't like Atlanta fans, even though Atlanta does things right for the most part, right? But just want to see if you guys are feeling Philly over Atlanta.
Both fan bases are like polarizing in some ways, right? I guess not as much in Philly for the Union, but just as a city as a whole.
Fair.
I don't know. I'm just fine with it. MLS teams moving on. I don't give a fuck who they are.
Let's stick with the positive for right now. So Philly most likely punched their ticket, right? 3 away goals. You're up 3-0 on an aggregate. Most likely punched their ticket to a CCL semifinal for this year. Let's stick with, I guess, what is I'm going to say it's a positive. Columbus, 2-2 draw against Monterrey. Probably should have been a 2-1 win, but a 90+3 goal that just was lazy defending, was poor defending, coming back to the set piece issue here.
Yeah,
Jason.
I was going to say, wasn't that a set piece as well? That one.
Yeah. So a 2-1 win at home comes down to a 2-2 draw. Again, you're setting yourself up for all you have to do is win, but you have to go win at Monterrey. And, it's tough. I don't know, Sam, within these first 2 games, did you have like any kind of things you liked, you didn't like? I think these were probably the 2 most positive results of the quarterfinals. Well,
I would probably add Portland in there.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to come at
Portland against America is a good result too.
and eking it out, right? It was a late penalty that they got. I mean, I would consider that a positive that this is a draw instead of a 1-0 loss.
So I did say coming into that game, Vaughn, I don't remember if it was you last week or I said it somewhere else, that if Portland came away with a draw, no matter what the scoreline really was, that it was a good result. So yes, fact check me there. That is appreciated. 1-1 draw, Portland coming away with a last-minute PK from Felipe Mora to tie things up 1-1. They're moving on. Again, Portland's in the same scenario as Columbus, where all you got to do is just go down to Mexico and win. That's so easy, right? Because MLS teams do that all the time. So, Sam, I'll go back to my question now that we included the 3 positive results: Portland, Columbus, and I guess Philly. Atlanta not being a positive result, but those 3 positive results, what were your takeaways? What did you like? I guess let's focus on the positive of CCL.
Oh, the positive. So sorry, Atlanta fans. No positive.
In giving Philly positivity, we bring Atlanta
absolutely.
down.
So sorry, but I mean, so as we all remember at the end of last season, Philly really took this big step. By getting supporter shield, and then it was okay, CCL, but you're losing guys like Mark McKenzie, like Brendan Aronson, guys like that. We weren't all sure how they were going to really fare, and it's like, all right, so not only can you beat other CCL opponents, you can smoke an MLS team with no problem. Just it was a good game. I don't expect Atlanta to roll over in the second game at all, but on the road in Philadelphia, that's a hard game. I also, in all honesty, Monterrey and Club America are 2 of the best teams in Mexico always. So, Columbus and Portland just had good results. Drawing at home, not ideal. Columbus giving up a goal at the very end, when they could have walked away with a win, that's hard. But I think it's a lot better than going into it, down a goal and needing, multiple goals. You can go in and eke out a 1-goal win in Mexico. It's been done, I'm sure, by other Mexican teams, but probably not by the American teams too often. But I don't know. I don't know the stats on how American teams are doing in Mexico, but I know it's not good. So going in on a neutral, field like that is a good start. So I can't complain. I think overall positivity, it's very good going in for Columbus, Portland, and for Duke.
Vaughn, who has, outside of Philly, right, outside of that Philly-Atlanta matchup, who, in your opinion, has the better chance of, I guess, of pulling that second leg upset, making it to a CCL semifinal?
TFC.
Yeah.
I mean, I still really liked what I saw from Columbus. They definitely have the cards stacked against them with Zelarayan out for that second leg.
Yeah.
But we saw them dominate real stretches of that game. And I think, I said this when it happened, I think if Jonathan Mensah had been on the field in that game, that late stoppage time equalizer doesn't happen. So if Mensah can get out there for the second leg and we can see that same style of play out of Columbus, we've seen they can be goal dangerous. We see that they can keep pace with Monterrey. Can they do it? Will they do it? That's the big question. But am I counting them out of it? No. They've given themselves a shot going into leg 2.
And I can agree with that. I personally think, and Sam and Jason, definitely, if you guys disagree, let me know. But I personally think Columbus does have the best shot of moving on. Monterrey, I think, very good Mexican side, don't get me wrong, but I think the weaker of the 2, from what I know about Liga MX, which isn't the best, so definitely don't challenge me there. But I think Columbus, even without Zelarayan, has the pieces to really do well. If Mensah is back, I think that is huge as well. I don't know. I really like this team. We've talked about Columbus kind of in all of the previews we've done, and we've given them their praise. Columbus is good. Columbus is deep. They have the players and the pieces to really do well. And I think that if Columbus or Portland are going to move on, it is Columbus. Sam, Jason, you guys have any Portland takes, or are you guys all Columbus as well?
Personally, you want to go?
No, you go first.
Okay, personally, I think Columbus is is in a better spot. Like you guys. I mean, we've been talking about their depth leading up into the season. Like, this is when they're going to need it, and this is what that depth was for, really. Like, when people are missing, they have people who can fill those roles in a pretty good way. I felt for almost most of the game, they were the better team. They looked solid in a lot of moments, and I mean, without that really bad effort at the end, like, you clear that ball, we're going 2-1 up. So there's a huge difference. I mean, going into Mexico, while it's going to be hard, and it's not impossible, right?
Close to it, but it's not. Yeah,
it's not impossible. Hey, if we think it's impossible, then they're going to lose, right? If they think it's impossible, I also thought Nagby was really good. I really liked what he was doing in that game.
He was, definitely. The one thing that I do want to give Portland is apparently Portland at home in CCL play is undefeated. That was something from the broadcast last night that I saw, and last night they kept that true. So I guess shout out Portland for that. But I mean, I don't know. You got to go do it on the road now.
Well, and I will say for Portland, the argument for them is that they only have one away goal that they conceded.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the benefit is they can, blow it and have a 1-1 draw, and they're still going to push the game into PKs. Whereas that's not going to be the situation for Columbus. So it's maybe a little bit more of a manageable situation for Portland than for Columbus, in that they have a little bit of a longer rope in terms of what they can give up and still stay in the fight.
And what's definitely not manageable is a 3-1 loss at home for Toronto. That's definitely not manageable. Cruz Azul took care of business down in Orlando. Toronto couldn't even bring on the Gator at the half to really kind of, swing the pace of that game, right? But Toronto, sorry, unfortunately, I was really hoping Josie just put away 5 somehow and just turned all the haters off. But Toronto, you're out of CCL for the most part, unless we can pull off some magical.
Didn't the Crew have a goal disallowed also?
Yeah.
It's offsides, right?
I think Bradley Wright Phillips. Had a VAR called that one back. So the Crew were scoring. I'll give them that. The Crew were definitely creating opportunities. And Vaughn, to your point, Jonathan Mensah is an absolute game changer. So maybe Jonathan Mensah can do something. Maybe he can score on a set piece. He's a big dude. But yeah, definitely be difficult for sure for both Columbus and Portland heading into leg 2. I guess we're all in the Duke bucket right now and hoping Philly just stays undefeated in international play, right? Philly haven't lost a game in international play, which is big. Cool. That's CCL, guys, for everyone listening, whatever, watching. CCL, its second leg is next week. Then we get a nice big break until August, because that's how CCL is running this year. But
ridiculous.
It's whatever. We're getting
ridiculous.
We're getting informed teams
it's
playing in the final.
It's too long.
That could potentially be it. Sam, I know you're not the CCL guy, so I'm not even entertaining you.
It's just ridiculous.
If they're gonna have a long break like that, why not have it after a round instead of mid-round?
No, it's not mid-round. We're getting the second legs next week.
Well, that's what I mean. Oh, you're right.
And then the semifinals are in August. The finals are in.
Well, then that kind of makes sense. Still kind of dumb, but
it's whatever. Maybe if we get some informed MLS team, I'm happy, right? But we'll see. Let's move forward. Let's talk about some news. Not a lot of, I guess, crazy amount of news player-wise or transfer-wise, as we still kind of have a little bit of that transfer window open to start this MLS season. But TFC, not going to say CCL was great for them, but they bring in a winger from Santos. They bring in a guy who was a 2020 Copa Libertadores best 11 player, Venezuelan international. There's a picture of him going around Twitter where he's fouling the absolute shit out of Messi. Jefferson Saltato, he is I think Alexi Lalas was calling him a diminutive winger or a diminutive playmaker, attacker, and TFC definitely is used to those tiny dudes being an absolute baller. Sam, I don't know how much you know about Jefferson Saltato. I didn't know much about him until I did a shit ton of research, and this dude's legit.
Yeah, so I didn't do a shit ton of research. I did like the bare minimum research because I've been busy. But he seems legit, like a guy from Santos who is really good on the ball. Like it's just adding to attacking pieces for TFC. Which at this point, if TFC can get him in somehow, make it to the next leg of CCL, like that's a good depth piece in there. And he's probably going to be starting most games in MLS. Him and Posuelo, like Posuelo passing the ball to a guy who's amazing on his feet is like Messi passing to Neymar. And I'm not comparing the two, but I'm saying if you want to think about the comparison, that's what you want to think about, because I think give them a couple months together, it could be really, really good.
When will they be able? When is Posuelo coming back?
I have not heard anything about Posuelo.
Yeah.
Vaughn. I know Zach is a big TFC fan. Nothing about Posuelo, you know?
Not that I know. I don't know the exact time that he's coming back. Let me see.
And then when is Soltedo going to be eligible or whatever to play?
He is eligible. I know from Instagram that Soltedo is on his way. He's already in Orlando, apparently. He's already down there. I'm sure he has to go through whatever type of quarantine it may be, right?
It's Florida. There's probably no protocol.
That's why they chose that.
Exactly. Whatever it may be, right? COVID-wise, that the league is having them do, I'm sure he has to go through it. So I'm sure he's not going to be available for leg 2 or for this weekend's game or probably the weekend after. But give him maybe 2 weeks, and I'm sure you'll see Soltedo up on the left wing next to Josie or Io or Patty Mullins, whoever else is
we
playing.
We need Io back too. All those guys,
he's kind of there.
Look, he played what, like 15 minutes?
Yeah, he didn't really get much, but all right. So that's Jefferson Saltato. Vaughn, I'm sorry, I didn't ask you your opinion on Saltato. Anything left unsaid that you want to say?
I mean, from what I've seen, I think the real question is how he's going to be integrated. From what I've read, is he's definitely an offensive-minded player.
Yeah.
Not as involved on the defensive side of the ball, which we've seen under Armas. They're switching to that 4-4-2 and being much more aggressive in pressing and in being an attack-minded team and counter-pressing. So once Pozuelo's healthy, where do the pieces for TFC move around, right? With Soltedo and you've got to try and find minutes for. Pozuelo's going to get back out there. Josie, Io Akinola, Osorio, and they're moving Michael Bradley more forward and into the attack.
Yeah.
It's more a question of where do all these pieces land and how does that fit into Armas's plans? That's the big question mark for me. But Soltedo, he's a clear class player, and I think he's going to be that Zella Rayan level, changes the game for them. This to me takes TFC where I had them on the outside of the playoffs just because I felt that all the stuff that's going on, right? My gut was telling me they weren't quite there. Jefferson Saltato changes a lot of that dynamic. He's the kind of guy that can totally flip that roster from being okay, good to like really good.
I'm also interested to see, because TFC does have a lot going on, I think, roster-wise, right? I think it's not a surefire thing that Io is going to be there the entire season. Josie's probably there for the entire season just because of his contract, but I know he has had some, I think, Liga MX interest. There's guys on that roster who may not be there the entire season, so it'll be interesting to see kind of what this roster looks like come playoff time, right? I think that's my biggest question mark.
Well, and the other factor of this is that they're loaded up on their 3 DPs. None of them classify as a young designated player. So under the new U22 rules, they can't go after any of their U22 players because they filled up all those DP spots. They're now limited to one U22 player. So, where there were these comments about this kind of feels like the last hurrah for TFC in this iteration of it. I think this signals that they're gunning for it. They're going for titles right now because this roster is going to have changeover for that next age, and Soltedo is going to be that guy that's going to bridge the gap to the next era of TFC, I believe.
Look at you. That's why you're the producing, Vaughn. You're bringing in these facts, like knowledge. I love it. I love it. But no, it's 100% true. It's like this is going from what it feels like in being the Josie, Michael, Azorio, Delgado age of TFC into, I guess, these young guys, Schaffelberg and Prizzo, and I can't think of Perusa. Jordan Perusa is another one. Like, right, these young TFC Academy guys coming up. It'll be interesting to see where like a Soltedo fits in. I know, obviously I'm a big Chris Mavinga fan. I think he's a stud, but we'll see kind of how TFC transitions. I don't think a trophy is in their sights unless it's a Canadian championship, but we'll see. Let's transition to other French center backs. Sega Coulibaly, the off-brand Coulibaly, coming to the LA Galaxy. Initially, when this was reported, this move, it was going to be a summer transfer, right? But the Galaxy decided to pay a transfer fee for Coulibaly and bring him into the Galaxy now. So maybe they saw the need for center back more urgent now than anything else. But not much to really kind of not much to really say that this guy is bringing a ton of Ligue 2 experience. This guy, has played for French youth national teams. He's kind of coming in with similar qualities of the other French wingers that they brought in, right? Obviously, he's not a winger, but just kind of that French Ligue 2 kind of borderline Ligue 1 experience. How are you guys feeling about the Vanny French Revolution going on? I mean, it's happening. Anyone?
I'm trying to come up with a French Revolution joke, and all I have is like off with their heads. I don't know. Greg Vanny knows what he's doing. We all know he knows what he's doing. So I mean, this is nothing but a great move at the back, which has been LA Galaxy's weakest position for the longest.
Yeah.
Having someone come in with a lot of experience, like this is a really good move. I hate it, and it's a great move.
What have I always said on this podcast? When the LA Galaxy are
Never
the LA
doubt
Galaxy,
Greg Van. Oh yeah,
that one too. That one too. When the LA Galaxy are the LA Galaxy, it's the league is better. When Manchester United's at the top of their game, the Premier League's just so much. I feel like more cultivating to watch. Like it's the same way with the LA Galaxy in Major League Soccer. We want to see. No one wants to see the Galaxy win, but when they're winning, it feels like the league is just that much more fun. I don't know, but this is definitely kind of Vanny just, I feel like, kicking it into overdrive to bringing in some talent from overseas, and he's clearly been able to find that talent in teams past, and he's hopefully doing it again. Just quickly, the other move I wanted to mention, we don't have to talk about it. Manny Perez, the longtime U.S. Youth International who signed with Celtic, and I remember everyone was pumped about him. I feel like 4 or 5 years ago. Was on loan at North Carolina in USL for a few years. Portland signed him, I think, on a free, then loaned him to Austin for about like $100K in allocation money. So Portland just doing whatever they can to just make some money. So Manny Perez, he's on Austin. That's all I really got to say there. Let's move to the U.S. men's national team pieces, or mainly, I guess, the USM&T pieces who are out in Europe just absolutely collecting goddamn trophies. There's been a lot of them that I think I was a little delayed in kind of giving them their love online, but I want to talk about them. You guys, I'll read them all out. You tell me which one I guess is most important to you or sounds the fucking coolest, because why not?
Sam, you can think about that.
I actually have a fantastic answer if you want me to give it. So.
Let me read it, and then so everyone listening has an understanding of how we're collecting trophies in Europe. And then Sam, you'll be first, sir. Serginho Dest winning Copa del Rey. Pretty big one. Jordan Sibichu winning the Swiss Super League. I think that's how you say his last name. I really hope it's how you say his last name. Zach Steffen starting in net, winning the EFL Cup. No one really cares about the Carabao Cup, but we care when Zach Steffen's in net. That's pretty much how I feel about it. Mark McKenzie, he collected the Belgian Cup, I think, this past week with Genk. This one I did miss. Henry Wingo, former Seattle Sounders. Apparently he's out there playing in Hungary. He just collected the Hungarian First Division title. So shout out Henry Wingo on that right back.
Pretty cool.
Back role. I think he's a right wing back now. And I think that's it. I think I covered all of them. Unless I missed one, Sam, I'm going to go to you first. Which one is the coolest?
Yeah. So, look, as a Spurs fan, my heart broke this weekend watching that freaking game. But
you are a goalkeeper guy.
But I'm a goalkeeper guy, and it is so important to have a guy in net who has experience at the in finals, in those high pressure moments where every save is like the biggest save of your life. And Zach Steffen stepped up. There were a couple opportunities. There was some good distribution on his end. Like, he looked good in that game, which I unfortunately watched all of. So, I think that's nothing but good for the U.S. men's national team that we have a guy who's got experience in cup finals. I mean, he would have been in the FA Cup final too if he had if they had beaten Chelsea. So look, but that's Pep Guardiola trusting an American goalkeeper to play in their biggest games. And that's a big deal. So I'm really happy for him, and I'm excited for what that means, for his confidence in the future.
And that's the bargaining stage of grief right there.
I want a cup. I just want one. Fuck.
Jason, how about you? Obviously, we have a lot of U.S. or I guess not even. They don't have to be U.S.
I mean, seeing any of those guys succeed is just a good feeling, right?
Yeah, right.
You see a picture with any of them with a trophy, it's like, oh.
Or
legit. This
I don't know if you guys saw the Copa del Rey picture of Serginho Dest holding the trophy with Messi. Oh,
yeah. Every time they're in the same picture, I'm just I cry a little. Is this real life? I have to hit myself to make sure it's real life.
I love it. Vaughn, do you have anyone that kind of sticks out to you?
I'm gonna go totally off script here, and to me, the biggest winner, getting the biggest title, is Jessie Marsh.
Yes.
Going to RB Leipzig.
Oh, baby.
I'm sorry, but that eclipses everything else. These other trophies, for me, that's the big one. We've got a U.S. head coach coming from MLS, making the big move to a Champions League side in Austria, and now he's moving up further in the Red Bull system. He's turning down gigs with Tottenham and choosing to stay within the Red Bull system and move on and up.
Wait, we were going to get Jesse. Oh, shit. What?
Yeah.
I didn't even hear about that.
He was all in the mix. It was all
I thought it was Nagelsmann. Oh, shit, man. Whatever.
I'm just saying.
Did you guys see?
He's in the conversation.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Leipzig Twitter post today about him? And they it was like the whiteboard, and they were checking off all the names that they. And then next to it says manager, and it just says JN. And they looked at it and went, "Oh crap!" and just drew an extra line so it said JM. Oh, it was so great.
I love that. I mean, I didn't see that. I will hop on that because that's perfect. Jessie Marsh, man, that is a perfect transition, Vaughn, because I definitely want to give Jesse his love. He's a young coach at the end of the day. When you're looking at it at a larger, kind of viewpoint, he's a very young coach. He's already won a lot. At one point you kind of forget he coached the Montreal Impact and didn't really do well there, and in his 1 year there too.
We don't talk about that. It's a dark year.
Chivas USA midfielder.
This guy won a supporter shield with the Red Bulls, and he goes to Austria. He wins the Austrian Cup. He wins the Austrian Bundesliga. Will probably win the Austrian Bundesliga again this season. I know right now Salzburg, they're leading that, and he's gonna go to Leipzig. Jesus, he's gonna go to Leipzig and Leipzig. And you have to think he's gonna do something there, right? You have to think at least like a DFB Pokal is in his future.
Tyler Adams is back with him.
Yeah, Tyler Adams is back. Maybe bring Brendan Aronson with them. Maybe, I don't know. Let's hope.
Well, I feel like they can see
more words like that.
It doesn't matter what window is open. It's you can have them.
Just all loans.
Well, and I think the bigger play here, right, is his career progression, right? From here, it's going to be only up. But I think long term, whether it's the 2026, it's going to be either the 2026 or the 2030 cycle. I expect him to be with the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, he will be the U.S. men's national team manager at some point. It's just when, right? I think he definitely wants to build upon the club career a little bit, right? I think
Well, he's
wants
killing
Yeah.
it. Why? Yeah, he's
Yeah,
killing
why
it.
stop?
if he succeeds with Leipzig, there's no reason why legitimately in a few years time, right, Bayern seriously couldn't be in his future, or Dortmund seriously couldn't be in his future.
Or a Prem team.
Yeah, or wherever. Maybe Tottenham's calling him back up in a few years. We don't know.
Well,
But
why would he take a step down from Leipzig?
He can go to a Super League team.
yeah, he's coaching. He is
No, we don't
coaching in
like
the
Super League teams anymore.
All right. Any more Jessie Marsh comments before we finally
you guys.
dive into week 2 of the MLS season?
You heard it here first. Jessie Marsh will be Bayern's head coach
Yep.
in 3 years. Tom
After
said it.
Nagelsmann leaves.
After Nagelsmann goes and, he's coaching the German national team, then Marsh steps up.
Well, he's going to win the Bundesliga, so it's pretty sick.
Maybe. We'll
Yeah.
see.
First one to win it that's not Bayern in like a decade, but
All right, let's talk week 2. Week 2 was a very fun week following up, I think, the excitement that kind of week 1 gave. Jason, Sam, obviously you guys weren't here to talk week 1, so I will be tossing it to you guys a lot to give your week 2 picks. Vaughn, I know you're wearing a jersey of a team that you want to talk about, so I will make sure we
You
get
handsome
there.
devil.
But if you guys are new listening to the MLSAces podcast, there's a lot of teams in MLS. We cannot cover every single team every single week. So how we do this is depending on who's here this week, right? Like last week, Vaughn and I, it was just us. So we kind of touched on a lot of topics. There's 4 of us here this week. So we're each going to take 1 or 2 games, storylines, major happening around the league, and really just kind of pinpoint that, focus on that. And if we want to talk on it, we'll talk on it. That's pretty much how we're going to do this. So Jason, I will go to you first. We already kind of touched on one of your points. I don't know if you want to start with that, but the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'd like to start with that because to me, like the defense so far over the first 2 weeks, including week 1, because obviously I didn't talk about it last week, but it's been pretty sloppy overall, and like it's early season, I get it, but set piece defense is something they should be practicing consistently. And I guess if I were to pick a game, it would have to be NYCFC, right? Because they put 5 set piece goals on Cincinnati. That should never happen. That's what are they playing, a high school team? Sorry, Cincinnati fans. But, I know we know a lot. We know something. I feel bad, but like, what the hell? Why is your defense this trash? And even last week, Portland, I think, led in 2 technically, but 1 got called back for a handball.
I will also say
a
this
bunch
to
more,
that point, Vaughn, you have been calling out one player in specific who keeps on getting dunked on game after game. I don't know if you want to throw his name out there now, but you can.
The great Michael Bradley.
Michael Bradley it's incredible.
He can't
MLS,
jump
CCL, doesn't matter where. That man cannot mark on set pieces. He cannot cover anyone inside the box. And so I don't understand why Armas has him in that position. If he keeps getting burned, like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. But like
injuries. Like Bradley's had to play, I think, more of an advanced role early on, just because no Posuelo. I think Azorio is out for a little bit. And outside of that, you're relying on a lot of academy kids to play different roles.
Yeah, but you got Omar Gonzalez out there at center back, and somehow on set pieces, they're consistently hitting Victor Wanyama, dunking over the top of like why is Michael Bradley marking Victor Wanyama there? I don't understand. He's going to get killed.
It's because it's midfield on midfield, man. They literally are that simple when they're doing this. Like,
to be fair, Michael Bradley wasn't really marking anyone; he was more watching him.
That's worse. That is way worse.
I say that helpful. You actually made it worse.
This is a problem with the Fire too, though. The Fire let in set piece goals left. I don't think they let in any last weekend. Actually, I've been pretty happy with how the Fire have played, despite where we're at right now. But it's just like set piece goals shouldn't be this easy. I shouldn't be looking at it, watching a game, and like watching Twitter during a Saturday and see like 6 set piece goals.
Yeah.
Let alone 5 in a game. 5 in a game is absurd. 2 in a game is crazy.
I was guest appeared. I will say I feel weird saying that. I don't know, like I'm not a big deal, but I mean I kind of am, but I'm not.
You kind of are.
So
Yeah.
I guest appeared on the Philadelphia Union podcast this yesterday, so it dropped today. Duke by the River pod, great guys, go check it out. And we were talking about this upcoming week's game, Philly versus NYCFC. They were talking, like Philly center backs are big dudes. They're going to score on set pieces and everything like that. And, I was like, we have 2 international center backs who start for their national team who are just 6'1" and 6'2", and Keeton Parks is huge, and Tati Castellanos, he falls on the ground and cries, but he's like 5'10". Like NYCFC's got some big pieces too, and like you said, Jason, I think the biggest example of your point is 5-0, 5 set piece goals. That's it.
It's just ridiculous, to be honest. Like you could have taller players, but to let 5, that's just
yes.
Come on.
I'm saying on corners, obviously, right? That's the thinking is aim for the big guys, and
yeah,
But
Well, to be fair, that's also in Yankee Stadium where like you can foul a guy at midfield and it's a set piece that can lead to a goal
Easily.
You mean you foul a guy at home plate and
there you go. Yeah.
And then he goes to third base and scores a goal. Like, ridiculous.
He steals second right after, and it's crazy.
Set piece from the pitcher's mound.
Steals second. He's celebrating by getting out the bat.
All right, Sam, I'll go to you next. What is a point, a game, a storyline, whatever you want to say about week 2 that intrigued you?
Ooh, baby. So I just want to say one thing about set pieces from Jason. The Higuain to Higuain goal. That's a beautiful set. And that's going to be my transition to Miami Philly.
You let that go in, right? You let that go. It's Higuain to Higuain. You can't defend
Oh,
that.
yeah. You have to let that go in, of course. Okay, tell that to Andre Blake. Who, to be fair, was not in a position to save that goal. So I wanted to talk about the Miami Philly game. Just Philly, like really, especially because we just talked about how good Philly looked against Atlanta, albeit short. But Philly against Miami, I mean, I think they were like going in hard. They scored that first goal. They had a couple really good chances and just a couple lucky saves from the Miami keeper, just getting his legs in the right position, and then just a set piece goal, Higuain to Higuain, and then this last minute cross in that Federico Higuain got on the end of and put in. And it was just Miami. I don't think is as good as like that to be beating a team like Philly every week. But I think it was just on the cards the way that they were playing, that they were just hot that night. And you know who else was hot was Phil Neville in that freaking pink jumpsuit. So I was like watching the highlights right before we started recording, and that man is just in a pink like sweatsuit, and it's ridiculous.
This is a good game to talk about, Sam, because I mean I'm not going to take anything away from Philly, right? I think Philly, they're playing on
Philly's dealing with CCL,
prepping for CCL. They got a lot going on, and they're handling things pretty well at the end of the day. But more for Miami, I mean, at the end of the day, this was a good win on the road in Philly. Like Gonzalo scoring again, you got to keep him scoring, and Philly will keep doing their best to just grind out results. I mean, Miami will keep doing that. Vaughn, I know you were very high on Miami heading into the season. After 2 weeks, I mean, how are things looking in your brain? The Higuain brothers are scoring. Things have to be kind of good.
Yeah, I mean, they're involved in the games. They're staying competitive, right? I'm sure when we get to the teams that are trending up and trending down, we're going to talk about the Galaxy. Well, Miami had a really solid game against the Galaxy. They ultimately ended up on the wrong side of it, but we saw very positive things happening there. And then ultimately this result this week, there's a lot to be excited about in Miami. I think that we see a clear identity. I think we see their star players performing. I think it's a very fun style to watch, and they're only going to build from here. To me, if this is where they're at through 2 games, and if this is the kind of play they're going to get from Gonzalo, things are looking up. We'll have to see what happens this week. For any of you in fantasy, you got to take a look at. I remember who Miami's playing, but they are missing literally everyone. Like every single major person. Rodolfo Pizarro's gone. The Higuain brothers are gone because their mother passed away. So condolences to them. And then I think you also have somebody else is gone. I don't know. There's a whole chunk of players that Miami's going to be without. Robbie Robinson. Like I don't even know who's going to be starting up top for them. So
and they play Nashville.
Yeah, Ryan Shawcross, I've heard, is a pretty damn good forward.
Put him up front and cross the ball.
That's it. Set pieces.
It's a Shawcross. Come on.
I want to give I think Nicholas Figal his shout out in this game because last year when Miami brought him in, Figal didn't really live up to I think what they brought him in for center back really to do. He looked very good in this game. I think probably his best game in Major League Soccer overall. So I want to give Figal his shout out. Miami, like I said, they're getting results for a team I didn't really think they would. Again, Gonzalo scoring, him making the MLS Aces Team of the Week 2 straight weeks. I'll keep pounding that. Go check that out at MLSAces.com if you're interested to see who else made the Team of the Week. Okay. Anyone else have any Miami or Miami Union takes? Vaughn, I think I have a guess of where you're going with this, but I'll let you.
Minnesota, clearly.
Yeah, no, I want to give a little bit of time, just a little shout, because I don't know how often we'll get to do it, to the Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yes.
I'm wearing their jersey today. Thank you. I think Matt Sia was in the MLS Aces group, hit me up and got me this Whitecaps jersey, so that's fantastic. But there's a lot to like about the way the Whitecaps have started this season. We said entering the year that Marc Dos Santos was potentially on the hot seat if they didn't come out of the gates playing well. And right now the pieces are coming together. There's some really positive play happening there. They ultimately were very unfortunate to walk away with just a draw this week, but anybody that watched that game knew that the Whitecaps deserved that win. They played very well. They're getting some really solid performances from a few different places. My Eric Williamson is going to be Christian Gutierrez. Dude's a baller.
Yep.
Been tearing it up these first 2 weeks. Really exciting what he's been providing them in attack. And Lucas Cavallini, he's involved heavily. I think he was the one who drew the PK. But this is a team that is showing fight. They're showing that they can hang with the big guys. They played against TFC here. Obviously, TFC was entering CCL as well. So we maybe aren't getting a full vision of TFC here. But Vancouver looks different to me. They look like a team that can, week in and week out, if they continue this form, they're going to be in the mix. They're going to work themselves into a position of being in the playoff mix. And we've talked about how they're looking to add a number 10. If that all happens, if those things come together and they continue on this trajectory, there's a lot of people that haven't been talking about Vancouver, haven't been looking at Vancouver. They're going to start opening some people's eyes. And in this game, I mean, they came back from behind, right? They fell behind early on an unfortunate goal that happens in the box, right? It just falls that way. And ultimately, that's what happened at the end of the game as well, right? They got their set piece goal against Toronto that put them up 2-1 in the 70th minute. That was from Christian Gutierrez to Andy Rose. And then a really unfortunate clearance by Kripo. And he's another guy, really underrated keeper that I think he's had to deal with some rough Vancouver teams. And we've seen he has the ability to stand on his head. He's the kind of guy that could take that next step if he has any sort of like a solid foundation team in front of him. So yeah, unfortunate result getting a draw, but Vancouver, I really like what they're doing so far. So yeah, I want to talk about them because I think they deserve it.
I mean, very fair. Christian Gutierrez, great shout. Again, I'll plug the blog in. Gutierrez is one of 3 players who's made both MLS Aces Teams of the Week so far. The dude's absolutely been killing it from left back. I don't know. I love it. I love seeing a guy like at the end of the day, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but no one knows who Christian Gutierrez is, right? But a guy who just absolutely kind of just is making his name, and he's been doing it early. I love seeing it. And Vaughn, to your point, Marc Dos Santos was on the hot seat, and I think I had the Whitecaps in the season preview. I think maybe, I don't know, but I said for the Whitecaps that you got it, Jason. I said
hold him accountable.
Yeah.
I'll
see what he said.
Because I had him pretty high.
No. I wasn't talking about where I have the Whitecaps. I said in the preview that if Marc Dos Santos can stick with the same formation for more than 1 week in a row, the Whitecaps might be able to actually like play a style of soccer. And guess what? They've played a 4-4-2 2 weeks in a row, and they've looked decent 2 weeks in a row. Like, yes,
time for a 4-3-3.
I actually have them the highest.
Oh,
in finishing in 9th. Tom has them in 10th, and Sam and Vaughn have them. Oh, Tom has them in 11th. Tom, you have them the lowest.
Okay,
Sam and Vaughn have 10.
I don't have confidence in Marc Dos Santos, but I said if he did something.
I shouldn't have deleted that tab. Oh man, my computer's about to take off.
Any more Whitecaps takes before I pick what I want to talk about this week?
Maxime Crepeau, Tom and I have been on his train for a long time. He was supposed to be the next big thing in Montreal, and he kind of got spot starts and just never got it going. And they traded him to be the starter in Vancouver. And yeah, as long as he gets a decent back four in front of him, like I think he'll be just fine. He was destined to be the new keeper for Canada until Dane St. Clair came along.
And now it's a fun competition. If you're
watching, it is a heck of a 2-horse race.
That is a fun one to watch. I want to touch on arguably, depending on the week, the most fun team in Major League Soccer and the San Jose Earthquakes. Not DC. Far from DC. Even though I'm liking what Lozada's doing. San Jose
own goals only.
Yes.
I really like the attack for the San Jose Earthquakes. I think Fierro is very good. Vaughn, I know you've been pushing La Chofis hard. I'm still not sold on him, but if he can be a decent 10, then you got some decent production there. Espinoza on the other side, we've seen what he can do for the past 2-3 seasons. But my pick for Young Player of the Year, Cade Cowell. This week, a goal and an assist, stepping up in place of Wando, stepping up in place of the other striker. I can't think of Andy Flores. That's his name. Cade Cowell. The teenager's ripped. The teenager's in fantastic shape. And he's now scoring goals, bagging assists. I think he just needs to start up top every single week for the San Jose Earthquakes.
I was going to give you credit for this Cade Cowell pick because after watching this game, I was blown away. I mean, that assist was phenomenal. That was a good, perfect pass. And then, I mean, the goal was great. But
he's what, 17 years old, or is he 18?
18, I think.
Oh my gosh, he's ridiculous.
He could legitimately body all four of us at the same time.
Yes.
Well, that wouldn't take much.
Keep the ball and put a top shelf.
I'd say most players out there could do that.
I like to think I'm built, but all right.
You know, Sam and I are both 6'3" plus. We could maybe give a little bit of a little.
I'll stand behind you guys.
Yeah, okay.
But if you just for anyone listening, hop on Cade Cowell's Instagram. The kid, like, I think he works out every minute of every living day. And really, I don't want this to be me kind of gloating because I will do that. But Cade Cowell, man.
Great. Oh my God, his arms.
He's huge, man.
Someone just get up a picture of Cade Cowell's arms.
Is this guy really 18 years old? Oh my God.
Does MLS have a drug testing policy? Like, are they
That's
checking
California,
this guy?
man. It's cool.
You know, it's all good in Cali, man. Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys have any other Earthquakes takes outside of Cade Cowell's a man-child and is going to be, I think, a problem this year?
I need to see 10 games out of this San Jose team. Like I need to see.
Well, don't worry. Next week they play DC, so that's
Well,
a
no,
win.
I
they
think
had a pretty strict game against Colorado. I wasn't thrilled with them.
I think I've seen from Peter Vermes before. He talks about like you don't really see a team and what they're really going to be and what the rotations are, what they settle down into until 10 games into a season. And at that point, you've got 24 games to go. You've got a big stretch to go, but we have a good sense of what teams are really going to be. For San Jose, that we have seen how streaky they can be. They can be a team that looks like a top 3 side in this league, and then they'll go a whole month where they're going to concede like 45 goals. So we need to see consistency out of this side. So to me, we've already seen in 2 weeks, like week 1, a little iffy, like maybe trending down. Week 2, whoa, 3-1 victory, and they're getting awesome results from a 17-year-old up top. What is this team going to consistently do? I need to see more.
Can I say one thing to that point? I agree, right? San Jose, like you said, that's the Almeida style is 1 week they're looking at LAFC, the other week they're looking at FC Cincinnati. But I really think that for any team, that having a guy who you can be confident in who is going to score does help kind of smooth things over and calm things down. I'm hoping Cade Cowell is that kid, is that guy, is that number 9 up top for the Quakes, because one, for myself, I picked them, right? That's a nice little just selfish reason why.
Did you guys hear that Tom picked Cade Cowell? I haven't heard that yet. That's really crazy. Good
I'm pretty
for you,
sure Tom just heard about Cade Cowell like last weekend.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, man. But I don't know. I think Cade Cowell could be that consistent force up top, giving Christian Espinoza some help up top as well. I just think that obviously when you add these pieces who are going to play consistent week in and week out, it doesn't allow for that crazy spectrum of San Jose that we've seen. But San Jose is still going to be San Jose. They're still playing the same style. So we'll see. And, they still have Eric Rometti in the midfield, who 1 week looks like the best holding mid in the league. And again, the next week, he's just giving up balls in dangerous spots and allowing teams to score. So we'll see. I don't know. I just kind of really liked what I saw from this team in week 2. But that's me. All right. Jason, we'll go back down to you. Storyline, game, player, anything you want to talk about week 2.
I was gonna say Colorado because I just am not thrilled with their start to the season. We'll just stick with that. We'll just stick to that because
they're not good.
They're just not. I don't know what. That's another defensive thing too. But I just don't know what's going on with them because to me, going into the season, I think personally I was pretty high on them. I don't remember if anyone else was.
We all were, I think, somewhat high.
At least I had them in a playoff spot. I think generally we were around that lower playoff spot.
Yeah.
But they've come out of the gates just really stale and just not tracking anyone on defense and just letting teams kind of run all over them. They kind of eked out versus Dallas a win that really was, or not a win, a draw that was pretty insignificant, 0-0. But overall, I've just been very unimpressed, and I felt like a lot of their young players were going to take a step forward, where it just seems like they kind of plateaued a little bit.
I think that's very fair. I am also down on Colorado. It's obviously still early on, so I'm not trying to make a bunch of judgments on teams and how I think, the rest of 2021 is going to look for them. Colorado hasn't had Sam Vines. Kellen Acosta has been playing a makeshift left back because they have one left back on the roster, and he's been doing a decent job.
He's been pretty good. Yeah.
He's been doing a decent job, but he's not a natural left back, right? I don't think Lalas Abubakar has been there for both games. I know he wasn't there against Austin. I'm not exactly sure week 1 against Dallas if he was there, but they haven't had everybody, right? I still think also warming up, getting into the season is a thing, but early signs, Rapids fans, aren't great. I am with you there, Jason. Vaughn, Sam, you have any Rapids takes, or do you want to? We could also quickly touch on Austin getting their first win in MLS play. That's pretty big.
Yeah. I just want to say, with Colorado, like I had said during the preview, they have no depth whatsoever. So Kellen Acosta having to play for Sam Vines, it's impossible to like keep up with the season. The second they really hit injuries, it's going to be hard. It's very, very early in the year. Obviously, 2 games in. I think Colorado will show some nice youth, but I just don't think they're. I wouldn't expect very much at all out of Colorado this year. Maybe some exciting moments, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think Sam. I think you were the most doubtful of Colorado of the 4 of us.
If you just look at that roster, it's really weak. It's really weak, and you know what? Draft picks
Consistency
aren't
will
going
be
to
a
help
huge
it.
issue.
Yeah.
Oh, very, very much. It's a long season, and you know, at least they play at high altitude. So there's that. They are way better or way more in shape than I am because they're at high altitude.
I think bringing in a Cade Cowell really would help this team. But
have you seen Cade Cowell? That dude is a California boy through and through. Like, there is no doubt in my mind. If you just like looked at him on the street, you'd be like, "Yep, he's from San Jose."
Vaughn, Colorado or Austin take really?
Yeah, I was going to talk about Austin personally because I think that this game was way more about what Austin was able to do to Colorado, right? Like, yes, Acosta's being pulled out from the midfield, but by design, Austin totally was able to pull apart Colorado on the field. They dictated everything that was going on out there once they settled into the game. This is an expansion team in their second week, a whole bunch of new guys all coming together, and they were able to come back on the road. They were down 1-0 in this game. They even had one of their starters go out. Ben Sweat going to miss the rest of the season with looks like a torn ACL. So that this was a team that was able to respond after losing a starter, after going down 1-0 on the road as an expansion team in their second game ever. And then in the second half, they adjusted and they pulled apart Colorado. This is a team
in 11 minutes.
And they're creating really nice opportunities. Like, their chance at creation is legit. And kudos to Josh Wolf, also as a brand new head coach, a guy who hasn't been in that position, getting immediate buy-in. This team is playing cohesively. Maybe the only problem with it is that it looks too rigid.
It's too good.
Yeah, it looks like something that teams are going to be able to adjust to. Over time. If that's the style, I think people are going to catch on. But right now, they just showed the perfect blueprint for pulling apart Colorado. And to me, that's credit to Austin more so than Colorado in this game.
No, 100%. And to you talking about Austin looking a little rigid, obviously, Josh Wolf, we've said it hundreds of times. We're not the first people to say it. Other MLS podcasts and platforms have said it. Replicating the Greg Berhalter 4-3-3, the 2-8 sitting above a 6, that whole style, right? They don't look as fluid yet as kind of what Berhalter has created with the U.S. men's national team. Obviously, only 2 games into their club's career, but Vaughn, I think it's a very, very fair point of, they did the work against Colorado. Colorado didn't mess it up. Austin took advantage of it. Cecilio Dominguez with the brace. They did not have Tomas Pochettino in this one due to an administrative error. Apparently, he will be back for week 3. So, I liked Pochettino week 1. I was excited to watch him week 2, and he just wasn't there. So we'll see. I think Austin is going to be a decent team. Again, from what we're seeing early on, I'm not trying to make season-long judgments in week 2, but we'll see.
And Daniel Pereira is living up to that number 1 overall seed. He's looked great out there.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Philip Mayako, right? And now Daniel Pereira out here showing why Josh Wolf picked him 1. Okay, cool. Jason, thanks for the Colorado talk. We went straight into Austin.
Yeah, we're good.
Sam, do you have any other storyline, anything like that you want to talk about?
I do, as my internet's crapping out. Yeah, I wanted to talk about Montreal and Nashville.
Okay.
That was just a fun game. If you didn't watch it, you actually did miss out, in my opinion. That was a very good game. God, MLS sucks just to get to a freaking game so I can look at everything. This is ridiculous. Anyway, Mason Toy up front scoring just a banger pretty early on, 13 minutes in. Yeah. I'm sorry, Tom. Let me swipe that all the way up because it was just fantastic, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. And then the second goal from Montreal was just I know not Chris Seitz, Joe Willis just was not prepared for that to go in the net. It kind of hit top shelf and just kind of bounced down. It was a little bit lucky, I thought, from Montreal, but then going in at halftime 2-0 down, Nashville really showed back up, crossing the ball in a lot more often. Cadiz got a nice header in on a free kick. Mukhtar got one in. Nashville, they don't look solid so far in the 2 games I've seen them play, but they're in it. And they've come from down 2-0 down both games now, I think.
Both games,
Yeah.
That's not something that is easily done ever. And to be able to pull that off 2 weeks in a row, 2-0 down, is pretty ridiculous. And the mentality that team has is very strong. And I think, that they'll start figuring that out more. But that says a lot about that team up front. So, and as for Montreal, they're very, very good out the gate, and then they slow down. So it's fine.
For Nashville, Sam, that was a great point of teams going down 2-0 and coming back, and we don't see that happen that much, but they did it back-to-back weeks. Yonder Cadiz being the guy getting the goal scoring started for Nashville in both games. His contract or his loan deal could run out in the summer. We'll see if Nashville picks it up. It looks like he is I think, I would start him every single game at the 9 if I had the option to. But we'll see if Nashville wants to kind of make that a permanent, maybe extend the loan. I really don't know the contractees behind all of that, but
apparently there's just a bunch of incentives that they have to kind of all hit for that one to work, and it's June, so they got to figure it out by June.
I guess we will see about that, but Montreal at the same exact point, Sam. Looking good, bad, average, I guess, is kind of that middle point of it all. Vaughn, what's up?
Well, the thing that I think has surprised me for Nashville is we knew in coming into the season, we said they need to be playing a more expansive style. They can't just be a team that sits back and takes on pressure. Now, in both of these games, they've fallen behind early. I don't know that so much of that was because they were opening themselves up, but we've seen they lead the league by a long shot these first 2 weeks with 50 shots. This is a team that is creating chances. They're getting in the attack.
Man.
They 25. Now, granted, it's against FC Cincinnati and Montreal, who were targeting as bottom of the table teams.
Yeah.
But Nashville is creating chances. They are getting opportunities in the attack. Whether or not they're good, but I think it looks like 21 of their 50 shots have been on target. You're going to win some games if you're getting 10 shots per game on target. So to me, for Nashville, we know they can be a good defense. That they can tighten up. They're just going to need to find that balance. So they've been able to fall behind in these games, fight back into them, not lose all the points, at least get a point out of it. Nashville, they're the sort of team that they can roll off 10, 12, 15 games unbeaten. I'm not too concerned for them. I think if anything, I'm optimistic that they've been able to fight their way back in and that they've been able to play that more expansive style.
And definitely want to give credit to Daniel Lovitz, who 100% kind of deserves some of that chance creation. I think he leads the league in it's some crazy stat where it's the most shooting or passing chance created something in the league. I don't know. My brain's mush at this point, guys. He's been creating a lot. I will just say that Daniel Lovitz has been deserving a lot. Probably should have had that more in a cohesive sentence. A key passes. That's what it is. That's a stat. He leads the league in key passes.
That's a good stat.
Yeah,
that's a really good stat.
It's a very good stat. Vaughn, do you have any more Nashville? Oh, sorry. I apologize.
I didn't get to give a Nashville take.
Jason, we don't care what you think about Nashville.
Jason, fuck you.
I guess so, right? I guess so. Anyways, personally, I really liked what Vaughn had to add about, we know this defense is good. Because initially I was a bit worried. I was like, you can't keep going down 2-0. But when you think about it, it's this is the beginning of the season. There could be some just, I don't know, lack of communication happening, which
Cobwebs.
Is probably, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Cobwebs that they just got to eke out. And the fact that they're able to come back in these games is huge for them. This is showing that not only is this defense who I'm pretty sure everyone's returning from last year, which was one of the best defense. I think they were the best in the league. They are now proving that they can score. And despite going down 2-0 in these games, they've pulled out 2 draws, which is the most impressive thing out of all of this, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I 100% agree. Nashville is going to be fun. I think they're going to be much better than what I perceived. Again, not trying to make predictions from week 2.
It's all about you.
Hey, well, I'm
Cade,
saying
Cowell.
Yay for Tom.
Vaughn, do you have a final storyline, game, player, anything you want to talk about from week 2?
Yeah, the one that is absolutely criminal that we haven't talked about until just now is Chicharito and the LA Galaxy.
Took mine.
Who's that?
It's probably going to be the 2021 MVP, even if they ended the season. Like if he didn't get another goal, he's still going to end up winning it. No,
I mean, the way MLS people are talking, yes, that is 100% true.
Right, true.
Hot take. Hot
That is
take.
a hot take.
I like that.
No.
He knows
But-
his hot take.
But no, seriously, I think the LA Galaxy, they're doing what I don't know if they're sustainable, but right now they're the only undefeated team through 2 weeks that has played 2 games. RSL also is, but I'm not going to count that. But right now,
baby.
Chicharito is performing, and he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. And once again, I don't think it's sustainable because he's got 5 of their 6 goals.
He also has 5 goals in like 8 or 9 touches of the ball. So I don't know how sustainable that's going to be across the season, but yes.
I mean, we were talking about what I think we were debating on the last episode, like over under 10.5 goals. Well, he's at 5 already. It's going to go over. It's going to ultimately go over unless the wheels really fall off. So what's the ceiling for him, right? What does this team ultimately do? Do other guys start getting involved in the attack? How does the defense hold up? Because right now, these are 3-2 results. Granted, that's against a good Miami team, in my opinion. It's against a high pressing team in Red Bulls. What happens when they go up?
Sega's coming in, okay? Sega will do the day.
But what's going to happen when they go up against Columbus, when they go up against Philadelphia, when they go up against a full Toronto, LAFC, Seattle? I don't know that they're there. We're going to find out really quick what this Galaxy team is made of. If they're giving up 2 goals right now, it could be more of what we saw in the Zlatan days, where you see these crazy shootouts where it becomes a 5-4 slugfest. I still need to see them lock it down on defense. If they can learn how to win a few different ways and not be just Chicharito dependent, Galaxy could be a really, really good team for this year.
And I will point out that obviously Chicharito, I think, if people had to vote, he probably is somewhere the back-to-back MLS player of the week, like a brace week 1, a hat trick week 2, just absolutely leading his team to wins, right? The defense for the Galaxy is an issue. We haven't seen any of the defensive pieces they brought in so far this season. I think Villafania, yes, but Derek Williams, the center back that they signed earlier in the offseason, I don't think we've seen him yet. Soltedo Coulibaly, again, we just talked about him earlier coming in. We'll see kind of when he can get on the field. Pair that with, Daniel Steres just continuing to look pretty decent from last season. We'll see kind of where things go with this Galaxy team, but I do agree, Vaughn, for this to be sustainable, for this entertainment and success and fun and the Galaxy scoring goals to be sustainable, they need to lock down defensively a little bit, and I also think a healthy Jonah Dos Santos would help that. Clearly, he's not 100% healthy running around on the field, in my opinion, but Sam, Jason, any Galaxy Chicharito takes?
Yeah, the one thing that I really like about what Chicharito. Can you hear me?
No, we can hear you. Just Sam was.
What happened?
Sam was being Sam. It's fine. We're all good.
Oh, okay. The one thing I like about Chicharito.
Go, Jason.
Oh God. Okay. The fact that these goals, I mean, he's doing it in all sorts of ways. And a lot of them, like that first goal in that game, I forget who took the initial shot that was going wide. Chicharito's just putting himself in positions to get these goals. Some of it is just him seeing, having the vision to put himself in the correct spots, which when you're confident and you're a goal scorer and you're doing what he's doing right now, that is huge. And if he can continue to do that and stay this confident and put himself in good spots and put himself in positions where, some of these goals are just tap-ins, like the sky's the limit. The 10 goal, he's going to shatter that.
I mean, I agree with that. I think he's on pace for somewhere closer to 15. I mean, obviously, if you look at his actual games left, goals scored, the pace is something ridiculous.
85.
Yeah,
85.
Is it 85?
85.
He
can do it. He could do it. Break MLS records, baby. Let's go.
That's not even just breaking records. That's like what, more goals than FC Cincinnati had all last year?
More goals than they let in all last year.
That actually
That's
might not be true.
That's not true. Sadly, that is not true.
That's so bad.
I am going to move on from Chicharito. We'll talk about him more and more, I feel like, because it doesn't look like he'll be slowing down. I don't think it'll be. Sam, I know, I get it. I don't want to talk about the Galaxy.
Oh, I'm not insulting. I'm sure that Chicharito will keep scoring.
Oh. Well, I still agree with what I was saying. Let's transition to the final point I want to talk about, and was the big, I think, moral debate on soccer Twitter this past week was David Ochoa kicking the ball into the crowd after the win over Minnesota. RSL beat Minnesota 2-1. Congrats, RSL. Anderson Julio with the brace, right? Everything's good. Woohoo. David Ochoa, in a game where he didn't really have to do much, I think he made like one save. Standard game.
He still let in a goal.
He still let in a goal, right? And we all know Ochoa for his antics on the field during games, licking soccer balls, talking shit during PKs. Just what David Ochoa does, right? Like he's a personality, and I love it. I love players with personalities. But after this game, he takes the ball, kicks it into the supporter section for Minnesota. His Olympic teammate, Hassani Dotson, is the first one to react, runs up, pushes Ochoa. Ochoa does not even make eye contact. Players are like surrounding Ochoa, backing him off. Other guys are getting into fights because Ochoa just was David Ochoa. Are people freaking out about this way more than they should? And Jason, I'll get your opinion first. Like, I think it's bullshit, but I'll go to you first, Jason.
100% people freak out way too much. It's not. This is just shenanigans. Like, this is just great because it's exactly the response that he was definitely looking for. And he got exactly what he wanted. And so it's just like, whatever. Just let it be. Let him do what he does. You just mentioned many times where he just goes off the chains, right? Like, he just goes off the rails and says what he wants, does what he wants. Like, I like the passion, the emotion. Just let it continue. I'd rather that than just like some stale games.
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree. Sam, I'm going to save the goalkeeper take for last. So, Vaughn, what do you?
I am on the Matt Miazga to RSL train. I want the Bash Brothers of Matt Miazga and David Ochoa just like going wild in
players onto one.
The amount of red cards that they would cause, not even themselves getting the red cards, but just causing red cards.
Pissing people off.
That should be a new stat. How many red cards have you forced other people to get? Because that's something worth tracking. That would be damn interesting.
Get on it, Jason. Get on it.
But yeah, I mean, in all seriousness, though, I do like the character and like that little bite, right? Like the league needs more of that. I think we were all drawn to like the antics of Zlatan, right? Like we need characters in this league. We need. I think like that little too confident swagger from Joseph Martinez, like that's what gets ratings. That's what gets the casual fan interested in this league. It's what spices things up in media.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we've got a narrative in week 2 about the keeper booting the ball, just wailing on the ball and kicking it into the wonder wall. Like,
international team.
It's totally something I would do. That's why I love it.
So we need more of that. Like I want more personality.
Well, you need people who you hate to play against, but if he's on your team, you die for that guy. And like 100%. This is one of those people, and that's what creates such passion in supporting the team. It's like you love to hate those players if they're not there.
Zlatan, Ozzy Alonso, or not now, but I think early Seattle Sounders, Ozzy, Josie Altidore to an extent. Guys like that who it's just like they enjoy pissing people the fuck off, and
they have an edge to them. That's
all about a mind game, right? And Sam, I wanted to ask you this. I think goalkeepers' jobs are split 50-50. It's the physical on the field, getting people set up, making that big save you got to make in a game to keep things close. I think the other 50% is a mental game for goalkeepers. I think David Ochoa knew exactly what the hell he was doing. And the next time RSL is squaring off against Minnesota United later on in the season and Minnesota United's found their form and things are firing on all cylinders for them, David Ochoa is going to be in the heads of a Hassani Dotson, in the heads of a Bebelo Reynoso, of whoever, because like Vaughn, Jason, like you guys just said, this is a narrative that's going to carry into their next matchup, maybe a matchup after that, and after that. This is what I personally think is, I can't wait for the next time these teams play. But Sam, kind of, what is your thoughts on the whole thing, the mentality of it?
Yeah, it's just like I'm with both Vaughn and Jason. Like, who cares? Like, everyone's making such a big deal about this. Like, this is a great in the game moment. Like, he just won a game. Like, it was a big game. He's finally solidified that starting position at RSL after a couple years breaking into that fold to replace. He is the heir to Nick Rimando. That's a big deal. Nick Rimando is the most level-headed standard man until you take a PK against him. He really is. He's a very good leader. Having someone like this is super different to RSL, and I think that's good. RSL that doesn't really have anyone like crazy, anything really exciting. They're going to be a bland team this year, really. So having David Ochoa is going to be fun. Booting the ball into the Wonderwall is a ballsy move. I don't care who you are. It is. It's really dumb. It's dumb. But who fucking cares? He just won. Like, who cares? And also, the only people who truly should care are Minnesota fans, and that's it. No one else should care because they didn't do it to your team, so who cares? Like, next that Minnesota goes up against RSL, yeah, the Minnesota supporters are going to be pissed off. Yeah, the Minnesota team is probably going to be pretty pissed off. But that's it. And that's where it should be. And we're going to start to see that fire. But David Ochoa, I mean, like, right after the game, too, because I saw the clip of him doing it and all the fights, he immediately went on Twitter and just, like, retweeted RSL's picture of them all in the locker room, and he went like, "Oh, you love to see it. Like, here we go again." And he's like, that was expert level trolling, was to immediately go on and just like make it about the team again, like really fuck with Minnesota.
Doing.
Oh yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, they do that because it means ice in the veins. I saw that on TikTok the other day.
Shit, I like that. Okay, that makes way more sense.
Yeah,
love that.
God, I'm old.
And I want to say, like, also, like, we see where MLS is closing the gap, like in CONCACAF, right? Where we're getting closer to the playing level. I think the places that the gap still needs to finish closing up is, yes, technical ability, but I think we're not that far behind, but gamesmanship.
Yeah.
Right now, what this is it's that little edge of gamesmanship. It's that getting in the head of the opponent. It's that
being an asshole.
Yeah. It's not just about the game that is, with the feet. It's the mental game, and this is the part that I think MLS can take that next step and grow and develop. And having characters like Ochoa is going to help in getting that progressing forward.
Okay.
Do that CONCACAF.
Yeah, exactly.
We're the only league that doesn't do it. Like, the U.S. national team doesn't do it. MLS doesn't do it. We're going to play all these teams that are going to go fuck with us the whole time. Why can't we just do it back? Like, this is a good start. Vaughn is right.
Philly did it to Atlanta. It was the most amazing thing.
Amazing.
Right?
But do you want to know what else is amazing? The beautiful game.
Oh, okay.
We spend countless hours watching, tweeting, discussing, playing, and talking about the game of soccer because we love it, right? Our favorite memories are really coming from when our teams win and our teams make history. Moments like Liverpool's miracle at Istanbul, Celtics 2-1 triumph over arguably the best Barcelona side we've ever seen. These are the moments that kind of keep us coming back for more, podcasting about it more and more each week. But what if you can carry those moments with you all of the time? Added Time Outfitters creates soccer-inspired wristbands that let you wear those moments on your wrist. Each reversible elastic design gives the supporters of the beautiful game a unique way to rep their favorite team in any setting. With wristbands from your favorite teams across Europe, the United States, and beyond, each Added Time design incorporates a 90-minute story from their most famous match. Now, you can check out all 24 plus Added Time Outfitters' current designs on their website at www.addedtime.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at Added Time Outfitters. Plus, you can go onto their website. You can find that wristband that you really, really want. You can then enter promo code MLSAces, that's MLSACES, for a nice little discount on your way out and get yourself, maybe someone else, maybe just rack up on the wristbands, fill up the arm, just go full arm. And you definitely use our code MLSAces, supports them, supports us. And again, get yourself a cool ass wristband. So thank you, Added Time Outfitters, for sponsoring this episode. Guys, I want to go around very quickly and I want everyone to kind of have their stock up, stock down team, where teams are right now, right? So, Vaughn, I'll go to you. Which team has your stock up? Which team has your stock down right now?
I already talked about Vancouver, but I'm going to say LA Galaxy, quite frankly. I think they're trending in the right direction. They're the only team that's 2-0. This is a league of parity, and right now the Galaxy are sitting on top. And I think they can continue to ride that wave and grow upon it. And as they get their defense in place, they can build. So it's going to be a matter of who else can get involved around Chicharito, but they're going in the right direction.
And who is your stock down right now?
Oh, golly gee. I don't know that I really know that off the top of my head. Stock down.
You don't have to.
I'll say Minnesota. I mean, right now they have been slow out of the gates. They're going to have to get things turned around. They're going to have to get some pieces in there. Reynoso is playing well, but he's not getting on the score sheet. They've had some really disappointing results, including this week against RSL. So, yeah, for me, stock down just because of how high their stock was at the beginning, Minnesota.
Help is coming, Minnesota fans. Help is coming. Sam, give me a team that you have your stock up on and a team your stock is down on.
Yeah, so my stock is up on a team we didn't even talk about tonight, and that does surprise me, and that's the Seattle Sounders. Week 1, big win against that Minnesota team that we were all super high on. And then week 2, I mean, giving up that set piece goal pretty early on, like 3 minutes in, but then being able to score a goal and keep that 1-1 draw against LAFC, a really good LAFC team still. I think they're trending in the right direction, better than I expected they would be doing. I really expected them to be losing to LAFC by a couple goals this week. So I'm pretty high up on Seattle right now. That's a pretty good move. In terms of stock down, I'm pretty much with Vaughn. The only team I'm surprised about right now is Minnesota's looking pretty rough, but they're gonna figure it out. It's week 2, so.
Okay, I think that's fair. Stock down is tough, but Jason, do your best at it. Stock up, stock down.
Yeah, so my stock up is a team that's actually can be considered stock down as well in Toronto.
Okay.
I'm picking Toronto though because I think their signing of Soltedo. So yeah, whatever. What is this?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, plus Io's coming back. He's back, but once he's really there, Posuelo once he comes back, I just see them growing from here. I feel like this is their weakest point, and they'll just continue to be better. So personally, I guess where they're at now, I don't think is a solid indication of where they're going to finish, which I think they're going to rise, stock up. Quite literally stock up. Stock down.
Stock down is tough. I will definitely, Vaughn, Sam, I agree with you guys. I feel like it's still too early on to really shit on a team, for lack of better, words. But
Yeah,
it's
but
tough.
Minnesota shouldn't have lost to RSL.
Yes.
Like,
stock down, I'd probably go actually with Portland. Like, I haven't.
Did you just say something bad about the Portland Timbers?
I just haven't
all right,
been that
someone
impressed
took
with
Jason.
them. I mean, sure, they've had CCL at the same time, but
We've been busy.
yeah, they've been busy, and they beat Houston, but it wasn't like that great of a win. It wasn't like a statement, and they were pretty bad against Vancouver. And like I said earlier, let in a set piece goal and basically a second one, if not for a handball. So that looked pretty poor. But I don't know. I'm not nearly as impressed. I picked them to finish first, I think, or up in the top 3. I think we all picked them in the top 4.
Yeah.
And I think they'll settle in and be fine overall, but I'm not impressed at the start of the season for them, especially against Vancouver and Houston. Like, it should be 2 wins.
Yeah. Vaughn may disagree about the Vancouver pick, but I mean, I don't fully disagree. My stock up is Austin FC. I think obviously 2 games into a club's career, right? I think you are starting to see some kind of motions put into place. Yes, Ben Sweat's out with an injury for the rest of the season. Yes, trying to figure out Tomas Pochettino's situation, but they're my stock up. I really think I'm seeing a lot of positives, and Cecilio Dominguez getting on the score sheet. Now it's just get Rodney Redis on the score sheet, and their 2 big winger signings, will be in full action. So Austin FC is my stock up. My stock down, I think. I don't want to do it, Sam. I really don't want to do it, but I think it's DC United. 2 games.
Really?
This is the reason why. 2 games.
Okay.
They have allowed 2 goals in 2 games, right? Not
Yeah,
bad.
but one of those they scored for themselves.
Yeah, one of those they did score for
So my
Just
defense
negate
isn't
that
that
one if
bad.
they didn't do that.
And the only goals they have scored were on, a header and a wonder goal, right? At the end of the day, they haven't
Off of a corner, so it was like some set pieces.
from the run
MLS
of
teams
play,
can't defend on.
from the run of
so-
play, it just hasn't been fancy, hasn't been good. It hasn't been just standard, I think, for DC United.
That's fair. Okay.
So early on, they're my stock down. I'm not saying that's going to be a full season, but kind of week 2 where I'm at. Tough to pick a team, but DC, my stock down.
Kick me while I'm down.
Yes.
Can I change my stock down?
Of course.
No, you can't pick DC. Stop.
I'm not. I'm going to talk about the team that has been totally off everyone's radar. We're not talking about, hasn't come up, FC Dallas.
Don't do it. Don't do
There
it.
we go.
Well, no, you got to look at it. First week, FC Dallas, they laid an egg, literally a goose egg against Colorado, a team that got worked over by an expansion team.
Yeah.
And Dallas, they have their full cavalry. Like, they aren't really missing anyone. And in this game, they had to go onto the road to San Jose, but a lot of people were picking Dallas's defense. And at the end of the day, they got destroyed by San Jose with a 17-year-old Cade Cowell up top, right? Like, they're getting picked apart by San Jose.
He's strong.
He is strong, but I'm saying, ultimately, this is not what we were expecting from Dallas. A lot of us, there's some people that still think they're a playoff team. I think all of us had them on the wrong side of the playoff line, missing out. You had them in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Dallas does not look like a playoff team right now. They look like they are missing a lot of pieces. They got 1 goal through 2 weeks. They don't look impressive, and I think that's why they haven't even been on our radar. We haven't even talked about them because they're not giving us anything to talk about.
I have nothing to disagree with there. I think the only missing player has been Jesus Ferrara. Paxton Pomykal getting worked in slowly. Ricardo Pepi getting, subbed in, but, Frank O'Hara has not been a good DP striker. It's not the same team that we saw from last year, definitely, for sure. Wrapping things up, guys, we are going a little long, so I'm quickly just going to say USL Championship continues into week 2 this weekend. Watch that. USL League 1 continues into week 3 or 4 this weekend. Watch that. The NWSL Challenge Cup is still going on. Nice's spring season, that's happening this weekend, apparently. You know,
Yes,
just go from a
is.
championship game straight into the spring season. Shout out Detroit City for the big Legends Cup. Yeah, okay, Legends Cup, that win. Yeah, MLS is happening. A lot of U.S. soccer going on. Watch it. That's all I have to say. That's the games of the week. Is watch all of it. Do your best. Guys, for Vaughn, for Sam, for Jason, for myself, thank you all for watching. Peace out and enjoy U.S. soccer.